Yeah, and Aaron, I'm excited about this topic today. I've had a wonderful seat at the table to look at all kinds of different styles of practice. And there are many different flavors. The truth is, that one of the cool things about dentistry is that you can really create whatever practice you want. Um, and one of the things I've noticed that doctors that truly enjoy being a dentist is they have a practice that reflects their interests, have patients they enjoy. So, we talk about the Thriving Dentist Show as our goal is to help people help doctors develop a practice that provides personal, professional, and financial satisfaction. Well, personal satisfaction is you're surrounded by a team you love, taking care of patients you enjoy. Professional satisfaction means you're doing more of the kind of dentistry you like to do. And then financial satisfaction is more self-explanatory. It means you're being rewarded handsomely for your care, skill, and judgment. So really, I'm going to cover all three of those today. And as I've noticed, dentists seem to have their own self-selected menu of services that they like to do. And I want to emphasize there is no generic playbook to follow here when it comes to choosing I like to call those high value services. But there's no menu. I can't say, well, here's the menu that every dentist that wants to have a high value, have more high value services should follow, because it really does depend on what you like doing. But decide what it is that you really like to do. It could be adult orthodontics. It could be placing and restoring implants. It could be treating obstructive sleep apnea. It could be treating TMD, TMJ. It could be developing more of a holistically oriented practice, whatever that means to you. It just, there's any number of endless varieties of what that might look like in your own practice. Maybe it means you're someone that likes to do the ankyloglossia procedure, the lip and tongue tie release for infants. Maybe that's something you'd like to add. And the more that you do, the more that your practice reflects what you enjoy doing, simply the better that is for you and for your patients and for your economics. So let's talk about some of the things that I notice are barriers or are limitations that make that from happening. Dentists come out of dental school with a good foundation in everyday general dentistry. Depending on the school that they go to, that can vary quite a bit, but they graduate with a pretty good foundation. And it usually isn't till after they've been in practice a little while for them to really have an understanding of the areas of dentistry that interest them. But as I look at practices that have taken a fast track towards doing more of those high value services, I've also noticed some things that get in the way of that happening. And I've come up with 6 very specific reasons why practices stumble with this. And I'm going to number them 1 through 6. Number 1 is the lack of confidence to develop that kind of dentistry, to deliver that kind of dentistry. Naren, can you see that as a stumbling block for many dentists?
Absolutely, Gary. I think confidence is key because, unfortunately, we are comfortable with what we were doing, right? Not what we have never done before. So this is something that if you have never had success before, it could be challenging. And a lot of times when you don't have confidence, you tend to give up, or you tend to say, oh, maybe it's not I can't do this, my community, etc., etc., etc. You try to find a reason why you give up.
So you've got to be confident. And I recognize the built-in challenge of that. When you're starting to do something that's new to you, it's kind of like, the banker. First time you went to the banker and you went to get a loan, and the banker says, well, I'd give you a loan if you can, guarantee it with that amount of money in your bank. And then I said, well, if I had that amount of money in bank, I wouldn't need the loan. Or the employer, your first employer, Naren. Do you remember your first job when you went out and applied for the job and said, what experience do you have? And you say, none. And they say, come back when you have some experience. Well, that's why I want the job. So I have more experience. Right?
Yes.
So in terms of lack of confidence, first of all, what I think you can do is you can tilt the scale in your favor by really loading up on the CE. It's not just one course that's going to make you competent in anything, but really load up on the CE And there's a lot of things that are available, in virtual format today that allow you to really take advantage of a lot of amazing CE. So, if you think you need X number of hours of CE in a particular area to feel like you're comfortable with it, double that, triple that, before you do it. And also get some cases under your belt. First, let me use a specific example. Let's say cosmetic dentistry is one of those things that you really enjoy doing. Of course, there's a lot of things you can do with cosmetic dentistry, but I tend to think of cosmetic dentistry as lab fabricated veneer courses. Go out and take the hands-on course with Dr. David Hornbrook, Mark Montgomery, Dee Dee Reed. Great course. Take that hands-on course. Come back and pick 2 cases in your practice. 2 cases that you can do as quickly as possible after you come back from that course. Whatever you need to do to get that case done, maybe offer a special fee to have it done. Maybe they pay lab fee only, whatever it takes to get that done. It could be a family member, could be a family member of a team member, could be a patient in your practice who would like to have it done, but just can't afford it. Get a couple cases under your belt. As part of those cases, take photos. I'm going to talk about photos later, but be sure to take photos. Take photos. I'll come back and revisit that. And then really reflect on what you need to do after you've done those 2 cases to really feel confident. But when you're presenting dentistry in a confident manner, the likelihood that the patients accept it is radically improved. So develop and just be cognizant of your confidence, and work on presenting that in such a way that if you were on the receiving end of it, you'd say, "Yeah, let's get this done." Which leads me to the second hurdle that a lot of offices face, and that's resistance from patients who are accustomed to traditional everyday dental services. So if you've got an everyday general dentistry practice, and now you're presenting something that would fall outside of that realm, you're likely to get resistance. It's kind of like that patient can't see you any differently because of the fact that they've been their mind is traditional everyday general dentistry. Very real, very much a reality.
This also happens when you buy a practice. Perhaps it's a traditional general dental practice, dental practice, and now that dentist didn't present high value cases, so patients are not used to it.
And I'm going to address that further when we talk about marketing. But I do want to simply say that you can guide your existing patients to let them know that this is something that's available today. So the fact that, patients don't seem interested at first, keep going. And I know that you kind of have to develop a thick skin. And I'm going to help you develop because, there's a point at which human nature and psychology kicks in. Naren, if you hear no enough, what's the human reaction to that?
It's not going to work. I can't
quit
do
doing
this. Yeah, quit doing it. Yeah, just give up.
So 2 things. And they're simple, but they're kind of a switch in your brain that can go off. After you hear no, just say that patient isn't ready yet. Isn't ready yet. And the second thing is I'm going to teach a little mnemonic. And the mnemonic is, it's easy to remember, the mnemonic is some will, some won't. So what? Next. And I want you to embrace that. I want you to believe that with every ounce of your DNA. Some will, what does that mean? Some people will say, "Hey, great, doc, let's go. Let's do it. I'm excited about this. I trust you. Let's go." Some won't. You can talk to your blue in the face and they are not going to do it. That's how it is. You miss every shot you don't take, which came from Wayne Gretzky. Take some shots.
Yeah.
So what? I don't mean that in an uncaring, non-humanistic way. So what?
Don't let it affect you.
Didn't hurt. We either succeed or we learn something. So you either succeed, it means they scheduled it and they're moving forward, or we learn something. Maybe we learn, okay, next time I think I'd say this a little bit differently. Or maybe I'd look for the clues to present to patients that maybe are more likely to be interested. Next, that has to do with just keep going. Just keep going. There is a wonderful virtue in persistence. World-class dentists, and again, I have to be careful about using absolutes, always or never, but I don't think I've ever met a world-class dentist that didn't also have a strong personal characteristic of persistence. So you had to jump over a lot of hurdles to get there. So Next. Some will, some won't. So what? Next. And add that one word. Patient wasn't quite ready yet. Maybe that'll change your perspective.